Top of the morning folks, today from the Reddit Rainforest. How did you get that scar? Was run over by a horse and cart. Yes, I'm serious. Got 72 stitches. Have no feeling in the side of my left knee. From a samurai sword. It was the first time I'd ever been around people my age drinking. A friend of mine took a fake swing at me. I grabbed the blade reflexively. He yanked it out of my hand. Cut pretty deep. Hurt like a ditch. But how many people today have scars caused by samurai swords? Stabbed in a gas station robbery. Well, my friend was going to chop a watermelon in half, and I held it steady for him. When I was around 6 or 7, a teenage neighbor girl thought it would be hilarious to force me to drink some sort of cleaning solution. I managed to keep from swallowing it, but it foamed in my mouth, and it dripped down my chin as I wiped at it with the back of my left hand. Whatever it was killed the pigment in places on my hand and chin. Later in high school, when I could grow facial hair, the hair grew in pure white where the pigment on my chin had been bleached. It was pretty traumatic at the time, but it's left me with this white streak that everyone seems to think is cool as malarkey, so it's worked out alright for me. Edit. A little more detail on what happened. She invited me into her house and offered me a drink from a bottle that clearly did not look like something you would drink anything tasty out of. She assured me it was good. Everyone had tried it. I refused, so she grabbed me and forced the bottle in my mouth. Then laughed at my reaction. Everything is pretty hazy after that, but I do not think she ever got into any serious trouble for it. Can't remember why exactly. Punched out a window when I was 6. Play school style badassery. My wife informed me that a hot pad had fallen behind our stove. We have them hanging on the wall from nails above the stove. She said that there might be several back there from the 4 years we'd lived at the house. So I opened the drawer beneath the stove that we store the pans in as far as it would go and stuck my arm back there. I was at a horribly awkward angle, but managed to snag a hot pad. Then I tried to pull my arm out to discover that, because of the odd angle I was stuck, I eventually wiggled free and my arm hurt something fierce. I decided to see if there was a way to detach the drawer. Upon getting that out, I easily retrieved the other hot pads and put everything back together. Only at that point do I look down and discover a huge skin tear where my arm was caught on the drawer. Luckily my wife is a nurse and she patched me all up, but the damage was enough to give me a scar. This all happened on the 10-year anniversary of our first date. I'm the king of romance. It was the 90s, and I was at the club with a bunch of friends. The Bobby Brown song Don't Be Cruel starts playing, and we all head onto the dance floor to jam to the Cassie Kasem top 10 hit. We're all dancing in a semicircle, and it gets to the part of the song that goes, I know, oh, I know, do not be cruel, and before Bobby gets done singing the word cruel, I drop like a sack of rocks. My legs had buckled and landed on my ass on the dance floor. I had no idea what happened. When I tried to stand up, I felt a snap in my knee. My friends helped me limp off the dance floor. I was so embarrassed. The next morning, my knee had swelled up to the size of a cantaloupe, and I was in tremendous pain. My parents were out of town, so my grandma took me to the doctor. He said my knee popped out of place while dancing, and standing up popped it back into place. The doc drained buckets of fluid from me knee and sent me to X-ray. The X-ray showed bone chips, and I was scheduled for surgery. My surgery was 3 days before Christmas, and half the surgical staff wore festive clothes. Scrubs with snowmen print, Santa hats, and the person who administered the fourth wore reindeer antlers. They removed the bone fragments in my knee via arthroscopy. I now have 4 small round scars around my kneecap. I had just arrived for college orientation and was very excited to start fresh, meet new people, etc. So we went through our day activities, meeting small groups of people at a time, playing games, touring the campus, usual college freshman business. Anyway, to keep us from going out at night time for the first night, the school planned for the groups to go to a legit gymnasium, one that an Olympic gymnast would use. So there of course were giant trampolines, and you better believe I was going to go on them. So I'm a pretty large guy, 67, 200. So when I saw people doing flips and the like, I knew I was way too ducking awkward physically to handle it. So I went on thinking, just do not get hurt and bounce. I start to bounce until I'm getting more and more air. When I got nearly up to 10 feet of air, I lost control and started free falling down. Keep in mind the rest of my orientation group is surrounding the trampoline watching this entire ordeal. I then land Not on either trampoline, but rather my shin strikes the middle of the two metal frames holding the trampolines together. I quickly got up and shrugged it off, laughing about it, not wanting anyone to think I was a pussy. My leg stung, but I thought it was just a bruise. Then I saw the looks on their faces. Just shock. I looked down and there was half of my shin bone exposed. Fresh and white. Needless to say, I hobbled on out of there and got bandaged up. Yep. Nice to meet all of you too. College woo. To sum it up, you only get one first impression. An energetic game of Hungry Hippos. Edit. It was when I was about 7. Two friends and I were maniacally hammering on the levers behind each hippo. I was determined and bashing my hippo with a clenched fist jiggity until they gave up. Let go at the same time and the board flipped over towards me. I was grazed above the eyebrow by my opponent's trigger. Not cool. Surgery. I wish it was an axe fighting tournament. Masked guy with a knife was paid to cut me. I believe for a while some relatives of mine got him to do it. It seems however it was actually bankrolled by a big company. Anyway, I survived. Even if it's not a pretty scar, I'm still happy the insurance covered the surgery. Context. Broke my leg in a moped accident. Surgeon, masked and all, cut it open to reassemble the bone. Insurance paid for it. Though at the time, when I was 15, I figured my parents would be footing the bill. Motorcycle crash. Motorcycle crash. Motorcycle crash. Bicycle crash. Rock. Knife. Tree. Punching bag. Punching bag. Punching bag. Floor. Just had a cartoon image of you riding a motorcycle through 3 brick walls. Hitting a bicycle. Flying off the motorbike. Bouncing off a rock with a knife sticking out of it. Into a tree. Then falling down the tree, hitting 3 punch bags placed in the tree on the way. Then landing on the floor. They cut a little human being out of me and left me with this scar. I was shot twice in Afghanistan. Turns out I was not so good at avoiding bullets. Impaled by a bicycle handle. Bit by person/dog/cat. Dog leash wrapped around my hand and pulled burned through my skin. Chunk of ice ripped my skin as I was hit by a passerby. Random scars/cuts that seemingly come from nowhere. Thorns. Lots of thorns. Hit in the face with a shovel by my mother. It turned out to be a mistake. Playing duck duck goose. I was 14. Cutting apples and the knife slipped and a lot of blood and I cried a bit and now I do not want to talk about it. When I was 3 I realized I could stick my foot inside a drinking glass. Did so and proceeded to run around the house and away from my parents until it broke and cut the top of my foot a little bit. I was cooking pizza at 3 AM after a heavy night out. Permanent scar on my wrist from a bad burn, but it was so worth it. Playing tag with my brother in the house when I was 5. Slipped on a rug and hit my forehead on a door hinge. In 7th grade, I went to my locker after class ended. The way the lockers were set up were like this. I had the bottom one, while a girl, Maura, had the top. I kneeled down and used her open locker as a way to balance myself. Her locker was open, as she was gathering her things as well. Then it happened. She tried to shut the locker, but it would not shut, because my finger was in the way. She continued to close the locker onto my finger. Me, being sap, said nothing in fear that I would look like a stupid idiot baby. Finally, after 4 or 5 times, my finger was let free, blood gushing everywhere. I ran to the bathroom, a trail of blood behind me. Then, a severely autistic student caught eye of what was happening. He was intrigued by the bloodstream on the floor and ran up to it to examine it. Another student noticed and warned the autistic student, "Do not touch that. It's blood." The autistic kid ignored the warning, touched the blood, and rubbed it on the tip of his nose. He then exclaimed to the baffled sea of 7th graders in the hallway, "That's not blood. It's cherry juice." He skipped away, cheery as can be, and that's how the student body learned about autism. To sum it up, slammed finger shut in locker. Autistic kid puts blood of his nose. I have a brutal scar on my left eyebrow. You know, the kind that looks like a bear mauled my eye, and I will forever be that guy that looks kinda badass just because of it. Thing is, I always want to tell people a story like that, but the truth is, I got it while opening a bottle of wine when I was already drunk. Did not screw into the cork deep enough. Tried to pull it out with tremendous manpower and it ended up popping out and the top of the corkscrew went straight into my eye. Good times. Keeping the balloon from touching the floor. A bullet exploded, and a bullet fragment embedded itself in my knuckle. I tried pulling it out, but it was too jagged, and I could see the skin pulling up. One of the guys that works at the range had to pull it out with pliers. Slash wound on forearm from when someone tried to slash my face, and I put my arm up to stop it. Small hole scar on my side from where I was stabbed with a screwdriver. Scar on my head from being hit with a bottle. In case you could not tell, I'm from Scotland. I tried picking up a broken coffee pot with a broom, and it slid down the handle toward my hand like a guillotine, and cut my thumb. I'm lucky I did not lose it. I thought it would be a good idea to run down polished wooden stairs in my socks. Slipped at the top of the stairs, and cracked the back of my head open on the table at the bottom. The good news is that I went down the stairs in record time. If you are reading this, you made it until the end of the video. There is no more after this. Click the thumbs up button since you made it until the end. On screen there should be some more videos similar to this. So either go do something else or watch another video. That's it. I do not know why you are still here. ... What are you waiting for, a secret message or something? Okay ... This is not a secret, but subscribe for more edit videos like this.